Marnie.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Before we get into the show, I just want to say real quickly that, we founded this show on the premise that Hopkins High School class of 1988 is the best class of any high school anywhere in the country or in the world ever before. And it's been a trying month for me. And I think many people know what happened. My son committed suicide at the end of July, and it was hell. And people who are friends of ours, but people that I was never friends with in high school, who I had almost nothing, very few interactions with in high school, have reached out and have been incredible in their support. And, it is something that it will take us a long time to get over, if ever. But I feel the love and the support, and I know that it just helps. It really does. People have said, I don't know what to say, but I feel for you, and I'm sorry, and it matters. And so many people have done it, and it's just been incredible. And again, that some of the connections that we've sort of re-tied up with the show have just been great. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who reached out. It was incredible.
Thank you, man. Thank you for being you, Jay. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. So on that note, I'm glad to be back. I'm thrilled to be back. Great to see you. We're representing more time zones now than we have in a long time. Marnie, of course, up in Portland. Eric out in the greater Boston metro area. And joining us from Marin County, California, Anthony Cobb.
Anthony. Yeah. Only if I need something. Other than that, no. It's just like it always been, Tony.
All right. So what's the story of Anthony Cobb, Tony Cobb, 1988 to 2021?
Wow.
Oh.
Couple of different lives, I think. First of all, Jay, as we said, it was nice enough that, I got to hang out with these three for a few minutes before we got started. Hello to everyone. Awesome. You guys, unbelievable. Doug contributing. Thank you. My family can't believe it. I love hearing that 88 is the class. I love the bit with Ramon, which looking back on it, I wasn't a guidance counselor type of guy. I was more day-to-day, so to speak. But it was great to hear those things about him and him say greatest class. And you know what? Fucking A. Well, it is the greatest class. I mean, every single realm you could imagine, I'm pretty sure is encapsulated in all of you. So it was always an honor to be a part of this class, to go to high school at Hopkins, and to have you three cats and Doug and the other ones get in and do this for all of us. It's awesome. So, it would never be about me. So since you asked, Jace, let's get into that. So there's a few people here. Actually, these guys all have some idea and in little bits and pieces, I'm sure. But I graduated high school and I left pretty quickly. Had a kick-ass 60 days with all my peeps, you three included, were a part of that. We all celebrated. It was like we knew we were on our way and this was it. And it was a pretty mature group, so it was wild. So I left. I went to California. And you can't go to college in California and if you're from somewhere else unless you're rich. So I took the time off and I became a pool man. I was living in the San Fernando Valley and I met a guy who had a route, and it was a kick-ass route. I mean, it was like 60 pools. Next thing I knew, I was a full-time pool man with a truck and driving through Beverly Hills and doing all that. And so a year became a year and a half. And so then I became a resident and I enrolled at Cal State Northridge, and the pools was tough. So I was always going to work. So then I became a valet, in all through LA and everything, which was a great experience. And then it led to a management position and all that while I was going to school. And I was majoring in broadcasting at Cal State Northridge. And because they were one of the few schools in California that were willing to accept me, which was pleasant to get in, very good to get in. And so I was doing that, pretty focused on it, probably should have been going more often than I did. And then when I was 21, almost to the day, I got a really cool bar back job in a really cool kind of hip bar in North Hollywood. And that quickly turned into a bartending job, which quickly turned into a management position, which then turned into ownership. And so I was still going to Northridge and trying to get my degree and you know, working full time, running this bar and you know, local bar by day and nightclub and live music and just having a blast. And then in '94, the Northridge earthquake essentially knocked my school down. So I was in the major classes, radio production. I was starting to dig it, and the school was down. So school was closed for almost a year, almost 2 years for the department. And, you know, back then it was too deep. I was too deep into the bar business. I wasn't going to do both. So that was that up until then. So I was doing the bar. And then after doing the bar, after 5 or 6 years, I was getting fried, just really, really fried. And life was tough and it was hard. And so I got an opportunity to, you know, at that time I was working full time, but I was also not really working a lot and just hustling and trying to find other ways to get ahead, and pretty much been single that whole time. And I met a guy that I knew through another guy who said, "Hey man, I got a job for you if you're interested." And that opportunity led me to Venezuela. And so I lived in Margarita Island in Venezuela.
Wait a second. There are islands off. Okay, help us with the geography. Venezuela's.
Thanks for jumping in, Marnie. Shit, I felt like I was over speaking in a speech class. My A impression was turning into a C+. You saved me. Thank you.
So Venezuela's on the northern coast of South America, correct?
Correct. Yes, just south of Colombia. Just south of Colombia, and so off the coast of Venezuela is an island called Margarita Island. And yeah.
Is it like the Caribbean technically?
Oh yeah. I think it's about 90 miles from the equator. So
okay, so you're like on an equatorial island.
Yeah.
Okay, now
in my
going.
late 20s with a job. Yeah. It was I'm sorry.
So when did you come back to Cali?
What's that?
When did you come back to Cali?
Well, you're supposed to ask more questions about the island.
Oh, sorry. So
what were you doing on the
what
island?
happens on the island stays on the island. No, yeah.
That's it. Actually, that's perfect. That's it. No, I was having the time of my life, and I got sick. I got really sick. I'd been there a year and a half, and I got a parasite. And a weird thing, it was a new parasite that had mutated out of the Amazon. So none of the doctors on the island knew what to do. And I was really close to dying.
Oh my goodness.
And so like when I started, I said, really, it's a tale of two lives, because the light after that, everything sort of changed for me, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. It was, I don't know if it was like a graduation or anything, but everything changed. And so the long and short of that was I went back to LA, and I left there and I went to Vegas and went to crap stealing school.
Wait a second, I'm jumping in. Did you see the parasite? Did they like take it out of you like an alien movie? And did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Okay.
And they injected poison in me. I was at 106 degrees for 70 hours. And I was in really, really, really bad shape. So they injected like 3 IV bags full of poison, very prehistoric way, because they couldn't get it under control. And literally when it hit, it was like you hit me on the top of the head, and like the fever just fell to the bottom of my feet. And I decided then I got to get out of here. So everything I had saved. Can you guys hold on for a second? I'm on the phone. No. Can you guys hold on a second?
Yeah, no problem. You can.
Yeah. Okay, you can. That's fine. I got company, as you can tell, and I have multiple women in the house and only a handful of bathrooms. So, all privacy aside. Plus, that's you guys may remember. My mom, she's gonna be 80 in October. She lives with us and has since our daughter was, I don't know, 1.5 or 2. So.
Oh, fantastic!
So, I was wondering where your mom was at.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to interrupt again as the bossy one, even though we've been missing his voice so much. Okay, Tony, everyone, Heather Thorson is here, and I love Heather Thorson's comments. So she writes, "Hi, Tony, I can only watch for a bit, but great to see you. I'll watch the replay for sure. Argentina, parasites in Vegas. Oh yeah, good stuff. Multiple women can't get better."
Multiple women.
You just said there's multiple women in your house.
Oh yeah, my wife, my daughter, my mother, the dog's a guy, although acts well. Rocco, it's Rocco.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so I went to Vegas because it was the making the transition. The guys I worked for on the island had a connection, and so I went to Vegas and went to crab stealing school and was working for a tout, which is a guy who tells you who to bet on, and I was trying to sell his picks. So that was adventurous for a year, and I wasn't going to do that. So I went back to LA and got back to just hustling, and I caught on with a company in a sales job, inside sales job that was pretty good that I did for a while. And then I got an opportunity to get into the mortgage business up here in the Bay Area. And the opportunity was in this town called Mill Valley, which is in southern Marin County on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge, 10 minutes from where Marnie used to live.
Okay,
And
Tony, that's so boring compared to craps.
I totally concur. So again, Jump in. Did you want to go all the way back to the bar? Because that was pretty cool.
No, yeah, I'm not gonna interrupt.
We'll have bar questions in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
So we're not almost to the end. So this is the second life. I go to San Francisco. I just go to San Francisco. I got rid of almost everything. I moved up here. I jumped into the mortgage business mid 2006. Which was great because I got to learn how it used to be done, and then I got to see the entire industry go into the toilet, turn upside down, experience some things that were super hyper challenging, and so on and so forth. But was able to hang in there and stick with it, which has been the good part because the industry's completely reinvented itself, and so I was in when it did. So now I'm in the mortgage business, and in my second life, I live with my wonderful wife, Lydia, and my beautiful, amazing 14-year-old daughter. And like I said, my mom's here. And so, we live in Corte Madera, which is right next to Mill Valley, which is right next to where Marnie used to live. And, if you can tolerate everything else and keep your eyes open and high and look at what's around you and breathe the fresh air and relish the education and that's available for your kids and the safety that comes with it. For me, it's a sanctuary way beyond anything I could have ever in my wildest dreams imagined. I will never stop paying for the decision to stay and to be here and to have my daughter go to high school here. But man, considering where I came from and down in LA and to get up here and to go through what Lydia and I have gone through together since, and I honestly, I couldn't be happier. So that's where we are today.
Taking us back to sort of the beginning of your story, explain to people the North Hollywood bar scene of the mid 90s and how your bar fit into that. What kind of people were coming into your bar? What was going on in there?
Yeah, it's really cool. So if you're familiar with the southern San Fernando Valley before it goes over the hill and into Hollywood and then into the west side and everything else. So right down there, just north of Universal City, about a mile up the street from Universal City, was a place called the Blue Saloon. And it was on Lankershim Boulevard, and it had a little bit of an industrial look to it, and it had a little bit of a chic look to it. So I used to always say you could be sitting next to an executive producer, you could be sitting next to a guy who works behind the scenes on the movie set, you could be sitting next to a golf instructor, you could be sitting next to a guy fresh out of prison. I mean, because it was right on Lankershim Boulevard. And so it was, a small place, but it had a couple of pool tables, and it had a bandstand. And when I got there, it was a really hip night scene with rockabilly music, the live rockabilly music 4 nights a week, and then featured bands. And like the 7th or 8th night I worked there, the Reverend Horton Heat out of Texas played.
Nice.
And it was like $25 to get into this dive bar and to watch this. And I was working and there's no food, it's just a bar. And the electricity of it and everything was just insane. So it really took me over. And then when I got into the management of it, I was really digging, you know, the idea of, you know, what I could do to get people to come to this cool place, you know. And so then it just, you know, then I got an opportunity to get in on some ownership of it, which, you know, was fun and everything. But man, it was crazy and gnarly. And some nights were just beyond crazy in a bad way, and some were beyond crazy in the greatest ways. So
it's cool to think though that like these, you know, big cities like LA is where scenes are really born, and I can just picture that mid-90s rockabilly scene. Just the other day at this festival down the street from our house, Los Straight Jackets played, you know, and they come right out of that mid-90s, like the swing dancing stuff, the rockabilly stuff, the old country stuff, that all was
remember swing. You remember the movie Swingers?
Yes.
Yeah.
So all of those types of cats would be normal. And then you'd even have the hardcore 50s type cats that would come in that were just swing dancing. It wasn't a very big space, but, you know, 5 or 6 just crazy swing dancing couples and stuff like that. And then we had punk bands and everything. And No Doubt played in my place on a Thursday night at 7 o'clock at night on a house kit. That was pretty cool. And, so we had people come in out of the blue, like the Reverend Horton Heat stopped in one night, the entire band unannounced on a Thursday. There were like 25 people in the place, and they just played for like an hour and 10 minutes for those. By the time it was done, the place was full. I mean, now if we had that type of thing, it'd be so great. So I learned a lot because I sat across and or next to every single cross section of person, I swear, that you could imagine. And I was so young and naive at that time that a lot of people would look at me and go, why is he reacting to me this way and not this way that I'm trying to get to him to react to by being my, you know, passive aggressive alcoholic self? Why isn't he reacting to that? And I'm like, I'm just, you know, he's just a nice guy, you know, from Minnesota. It's not this.
I've heard of this.
He can count. You can't, you know.
Got people I know who moved out to the West Coast right out of college, you know, have this, they all talk about this reaction that people out there have to Midwesterners that like, wow, you work an 8-hour day. What's that about?
Oh, you think about what you eat. Oh, it's really weird. Yeah. Oh. Why are you so concerned about money?
Yeah. Not spending it. So where did you live on the island, and what was life on that island like? Was it all Spanish speaking? Was it a culture shock kind of thing? Or?
Yeah, no Americans at all. So Marguerite Island back then is when, you know, the United States and Venezuela were still friends, and they loved having Americans anytime they could. So I got this job, and it was about 90. There were no women that worked in the company, so it was about 90 guys. And we worked in this building that was right on the beach, and they had just built this new huge condo palace, if you will, right on the beach. And so it came with a 2-bedroom apartment equipped right on the beach, and the office 400 yards down the beach. And at that time, Margarita Island was Eastern Venezuela and, ironically, Scandinavians' answer to Las Vegas. So it was a super hot tourism spot, surrounded by something that, you know, I have some knowledge in, you know, gaming. And so during the day we would work our asses off, and at night we would enjoy the island, and the water was always warm enough that you could sweat in it. And it was great because it was always hot and humid, but you were on the island, so the air was moving all the time. So it really was paradise. And fortunately, the blessing in disguise is I got that parasite, because if I wouldn't have been there, I probably would still be like in Costa Rica or Uruguay or something. Because once you get too long in what I was doing in South America or anywhere else, you know, it starts to run thin. So
was there baseball on the island?
Oh yeah. We used to go play. We used to go watch guys play. It'd be a hitting contest, and they would hit those metal caps that you twist off of South American soda bottles, and guys could throw them and they would move, and they would hit them with broomsticks.
Yeah.
And if you could square one up, you know, that just the right time, you could hit like a missile. It would go like 250 feet. And you'd see these people just go nuts and everything. But, you know, we watch people play baseball with, you know, rocks for bases, you know, like big boulders. And it was great. So I never had a glove. I kind of regretted that part, you know, because I didn't do anything, you know, active at all. It was grind, and then go take the stress off by enjoying the island. So
that was my segue back to Hopkins High School baseball, by the way. I know that Eric's got some.
Oh no, I was just going to ask, you know, and Cobb, I assume, are you still a big baseball fan?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, you know, you grew up in Minnesota, rooting for the Twins. You move out to LA, the Dodgers win the World Series. The first year you're out there, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was there the night Gibby took Eckersley deep.
It's if you ever watch that video, it's so funny because all the people are driving out, trying to get out early.
Right.
And you see everyone, you see all the brake lights as people are just slamming their brakes, like, oh crap, I'm missing this. And now you're in the Bay Area, which has, you know, a National League team and an American League team. So who do you root for?
Oh, where I live, I'm in Giants country, period, straight up. I can feel comfortable being a Giants fan because my daughter was born here. This is Giants country all day long. So, and you know, Duke, this is a storied franchise from the East Coast. This isn't some pop-up. So I love the Twins. I still follow them regularly. I was fortunate enough to get to Target Field when we came 2 summers ago. It was so awesome. But no, man, we're locked in on the Giants. And same way, it was cool to hear Corn talk about, like, hey man, I got to go. The Bucks are playing tonight. I'm like, wow, might be my like I know some people in, you know, that area, but I don't know anybody, you know, even after not seeing Jay for 30 years, that I know anybody better. He's a Bucks fan, like, but that makes sense. Timberwolves. I'm a Timberwolves fan.
That was a good bandwagon to jump on.
Hell yeah. Justified, man. You paid your dues.
Yeah, what am I, a Timberwolves fan? Who cares about
I mean, so don't tell you know. Was that Alex?
Oh, sorry, I want to let you finish your thought. We're still figuring out this 3-way thing.
Whoa.
Well, you know. So a lot of during the pandemic, baseball card collecting just caught fire again. And I remember you actually kind of reintroduced me to the hobby when we were in high school. Did you get back into that at all during the pandemic?
No, it's funny you mentioned, this is really ironic. I can't believe you bring this up, Alex, that you did. And Marnie, you'll love this too. And Jay, hopefully you do. And for those of you, you know, the tens listening around the world, that's my Michael Buffer reference, by the way. I used to love it when he would go, the thousands in attendance and the millions around the world. I love that. So Marnie, we were driving over Wolf Grade in San Rafael, and I'm with my wife, Lydia, and she goes, did you see that sign? And I go, no. She goes, it said garage sale memorabilia. And I went, on the left side? And she said, yeah. So I turn around. That means it's at the top of the hill, which means it's in the state, right? So we'll go up there. So we go up there. Hold on, I'm going to get this. You guys got this.
Oh, please.
Oh boy.
I don't know if you saw this, Eric. There was a great like Twitter meme of a few months ago that it was guys can have a great time just by naming old athletes. And I'm like,
yes.
I mean, I think the three of us, and we probably bored Marnie and some others, but including other people like Bob Gollin, et cetera, would sit around at lunchtime and really do not much more than that. Just name.
Right.
Do Phillies lineup from
1980? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, Bob Gollin and I used to do that.
Knock that out. Yes.
So check this out, guys. This was at a garage sale at the top in Marin County.
In Ross.
This is
Okay.
This is an unopened
Rod Carew?
1987
Oh,
Twins Wheaties box. Unopened.
is the
There's
cereal?
there's cereal in there.
How much did you pay?
$4.
Sweet. Even I can appreciate that sports moment.
Yeah, how much of a poker face did you have when you were buying?
Yeah.
$4. That'll work. That'll work. How about you mean, is this a Vita Blue? Yeah, it comes with the letter of authenticity. How much you want for that? $4.
You bought a Vita Blue card for $4?
No, autographed ball.
Oh, wow.
Right, so,
Holy cow.
so it's funny you ask how that's the only collecting I've done probably since the last time you and I talked about it. You mentioned, which might have been, at the end of high school. I sold a lot at one time in one of my lives. I found myself in some straits. So whatever I really had left over, I was able to get rid of and keep going. So, but now I have that. So that's
all you need.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Yeah, that's.
How about you? Are you still dabbling in collectibles?
I sold most of my stuff before I went to business school. I needed some cash just to kind of have, pocket money. So I sold all, remember I had all that 50 stuff. I sold all that 50 stuff to somebody up in Connecticut where I was living at the time.
Nice.
I had a bunch of, junk wax stuff from, the late 80s, but I've actually during the pandemic, I sort of whittled all that stuff down to things that I would actually care about. I pulled a bunch of Yankee stuff out for my two nephews who are huge. Nina's brother is a big Yankees fan, so he's brainwashing his kids. So I got them some Yankee stuff. So my collection is a lot more organized now, but I haven't necessarily purchased anything new, and I don't necessarily expect to.
Let's jump off collecting. We're going to start losing listeners in a hurry if we stay with that.
No, they love it. Doug Roberts.
We don't do a ton. We haven't even touched on high school. We sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. But it was real when you guys played baseball. Hopkins had a couple of great teams when we were juniors and seniors, and man, that was just a fun thing to do. Toward as the year was winding down, to come out and watch you guys play in regionals and sectionals, and obviously always all the way down to the dome. But Eric, in an email leading up to the show, was mentioning the I'm going to say Parade Stadium.
Yep, 88
ball field. Yeah, 88, our senior year. We're playing Edina, and was it the game to go to state?
It was. You remember this, Copper?
Yeah, I might remember that.
You squeezed home the winning run. You squeezed home Mark Sauter, suicide squeeze off of Tommy Nevers. In fact, I
think it was Rather, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm positive it was Nevers. And you know why? Because I remember like going. I remember yelling at you like from the stands, "Cobber, balls this big, balls this big." All the, it probably wasn't the classiest thing I could have ever done. But I remember talking to you about it after I said, what led to that. You said Nevers only throws fastballs, so I knew he was going to put something around the zone I could get the bat on. And I think he'd walked up a third base coach and said, "We got to squeeze this run home." He said, "Okay." And you're like, "All right, third pitch, we're doing it." And there it was. And it's funny because I met Tommy Nevers probably in the late 90s. I don't know, at some bar, and he knew Peter Gammons. That's when I was working at ESPN. So he and I talked about Peter a little bit. And I had always meant to ask him about that, about, how he gave up the winning run to Edina. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Those were fun teams.
That was a really, really fun team, and it was fun when I was looking at some of the clips and everything, and to see some of those guys, to see Mark Sauter and Todd Dvorak, and I have such fond memories, and it's little nuggets of those types of things, and that moment, it's to be, it's just, I share it with so few people, but it really was for me at a time where everything was changing so fast for all of us and everything. And it was like you said, Jay, it was, at the end of the school year and we're getting ready to do this, but, we were busting our team busted its ass so hard. We all knew we had a coach that, we were going to have to carry the coach kind of at that point. And Dewey was doing the best he could. And there was just it was just a great mix of guys. Nobody on that team, you know, was a prick or a jerk. Everybody had the same common goal. Of course, everybody wanted to go to the savage party at Pookner's before the big game. And Captain Cobb stepped in and said, I think that's a horrible idea. And he found himself standing in the corner by himself, wondering what he was going to do. That was my chance to talk in the third person, self-inflicted. Thank you. But no, it was great, man. It was Steiner, Sauter, and I standing next to Coach. And it was probably Steiner because he was the best player we had by far. And he probably said, why don't we squeeze this thing in? And I think Dewey might have said, hey, let's do it on the third pitch. And I said, I'll swing right through the first one as hard as I can to make it look like we're driving it in. And we put it together. And I remember it was Dave Ronholm coaching first, who was a huge man. And I remember jumping into his arms and, you know, twisting around and running out. It was awesome, man. It was super, super great. Yeah,
and I mean, I remember feeling this at the time that, like, you know, the guy that we knew who knew and cared more about baseball than anyone, to pull off a student of the game kind of play like that. I mean, whenever a squeeze bunt happens in any context, I sort of go crazy. Little League World Series, you know, what does it happen, like, you know, twice a summer now in Major League Baseball where they actually squeeze somebody in, and I'm like, oh, how great is that? It's, you know, that's small ball, baby. You gotta love it. And
we are working on a baseball reunion show, Cobb. I would assume you'd want to be part of that.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
It'd be an honor. Are you kidding? This is an honor for me, guys.
Sorry, Marnie, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Oh, no, we're all good. We're going to book a baseball show, but I just wanted to announce that Ramon Reyna has chimed in, and his comment, Tony, is better late than never.
Way to go, Ramon.
Okay, going back on mute for the sports talk.
So, Cobber, you were, and I mean, obviously, we've seen this in the last 30 minutes. You're a pretty good storyteller, and you were always a very good storyteller. But I remember one point you said to me, you know, and I think you were calling me Duke pretty regular. You know, Duke, you know that sometimes I'll exaggerate a little bit for effect, right? And I was like, yeah, you know, sure, that's fine. So there's a few stories that I remember about you, and I wanted to kind of see, is this true or is it a tall tale? So the first one is,
I prefer urban myth.
Okay. But yeah, but Marin County's in the suburbs, right? So I don't know if it's urban or not, but what suburban?
Don't go there. No, don't go there.
So in fact, Todd Brofman even mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about having you on the show. There was the story going around that you are a blood relative of early 1900s baseball legend Ty Cobb. Is that a true story or a tall tale?
To my knowledge, which means it comes from my grandfather on my dad's side, and my father, and his brother. Okay, you take this however you want. Okay, these are caveats if you're not picking up on it. To my knowledge from them, the answer is yes. The chances of that being true, given that trio, my grandfather puts it a little above 60%. I stopped making any reference of Ty Cobb when I found out really everything about Ty Cobb.
Yeah.
So I remember in Little League, after my grandfather and my uncle and my dad told me I was related to Ty Cobb, that I was going to tell the ice cream man. I'd tell anybody I was related to Ty Cobb. So intentional exaggeration? Absolutely not. Naive and ignorant? Maybe. That's the first life, you know?
All right. So,
nobody after I turned 21 ever heard that I might have been related to Ty Cobb.
Okay. So the second story was, and I'm not sure if this was at a card show or somewhere else, but Stan Musial was there. And, you know, Stan Musial is a legend. He had more hits than anybody in the National League until Pete Rose came along. He was, you know, a retired baseball player. But everyone was almost ignoring him. He was just kind of sitting there by himself. And you walked up to him and you said, Mr. Musial, I'm, you know, you introduced yourself and said, I'm embarrassed for all these people around here. You're Stan the man, yet no one's talking to you. Is that a true story or is that a tall tale?
That is a true story. And if I could piggyback, and Marnie, I love it when you go big name dropper. It's not name dropping, although I do like to do it. So there's a minor league team here that folded during COVID in San Rafael, Marty. You love it. Do you know the Pacifics? You ever heard of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Pacifics are this minor league team. And when my daughter was 11 and playing Little League Baseball, they brought in Jose Canseco for a home run derby at the Pacifics. So I tell my whole Little League team, I got to tell all these Marin parents, 9.5 out of 13 kids, parents have no idea even what baseball is. So I got to tell them what it is. So I bring all the kids there, and Jose Canseco, he's all swollen and looking just terrible. And tell everybody to bring something and to get him to sign. So while he's signing, I'm yelling out at the top of my lungs, "This is Jose Canseco. Are you kidding me? This is the first guy ever to hit 40 home runs and steal 40 bases." And everyone is looking at me like, "Are we safe here?"
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting off mute. That is such a Marin story.
I know.
Our
it was
two
great.
classmates, Brad Jones and Jen Nasiri, will appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, are they in Marin? No.
Yes, there are now 3 of you. The population has gone down to 3.
Isn't
Okay.
Michelle Grover out there too? Is Michelle Grover out there?
Not in Marin,
Not in
which
Marin?
is its own
Okay.
country. Okay, back to True and False.
Back to
So-
what?
So
True
True and
True and
false.
False.
The
Okay.
truth is on the mutual story is yes. Yes,
Okay.
meetings-
And it went down like that. He was just
Yeah,
kind of twiddling his thumbs. All right.
I
Okay.
mean, Stan Musial, man. You know
Yeah,
Stan.
well, sure.
Seriously.
All right.
Well,
So,
maybe, how is Stan Musial one of the 5 greatest players of all time?
oh God,
Top 5?
I probably.
Non-pitcher, probably
Yeah.
top.
So
Stan
I mean, now this was 30 years ago, so there's been.
It
Yeah.
was way more
So-
than that.
yeah,
I think
30 years ago,
I was like 11 or 12 years old when it happened.
Okay,
let me-
Ramon, I'm interrupting for Ramon. Ramon says, note, Jose Canseco is a Cuban American.
Yes.
Yes,
Back on me.
absolutely. And back at Ramon, who recently blew his finger off while cleaning his gun. So I actually, which is, he blew his finger off.
A bright bulb. He's not the best
Sure.
representation
No.
of a Cuban American.
He's a terrible poker player too, by the way. I played poker with him a few times. He's a complete bum on the
See,
table.
he's just,
When did you play poker with Jose Canseco? Come on, man. Is that a true story or a tall tale?
I've played poker with Jose Canseco at least a dozen times.
Where? Where? How does this?
At Red Rock, he's a regular at Red Rock. He's got a second home or he had a second home years ago in Summerlin, so he was a regular there. And I was playing a lot of poker then.
When
back
you were in
then.
Vegas. Okay.
Well, not just when I played a lot of poker there. So,
All right.
but,
The last
he's-
story, and I just want to get through this thing so we can kind of move on to whatever else. But and I remember I may have been the only one you told the story to, but you're in a card store, you're in line, whatever,
collectibles.
and you pull up a baseball card featuring Dan Schatzeder. And Jason, I don't know if you know that name. He was a left-handed relief pitcher for the Twins. And he was really struggling at the time. And I think Cobb, you like tapped the shoulder of the guy in front of you, and you're like, guy. Well, you turn around and it's Dan Schatzeder in line behind you.
I don't remember that.
That may have been a tall tale.
That one's
I'll put that one in the tall tale column.
See,
But-
if it would have been me back then, it would have been Dan Gladden. Maybe if I could have Dan Schatzy. Dan Schatzy.
I have a very quick Dan Gladden story.
Nice.
I ran into Dan Gladden buying Copenhagen or Skoll or something at the Tom Thumb on Excelsior Boulevard there, right in Glen Lake.
That's a great story.
And just stood there going, do I say something? Do I say something? Do I say something? And I finally just said, like, Mr. Gladden, you're one of my favorite twins. And
There you go. That's
That
a
was
good
it.
Dan Gladden. He was the one buying Copenhagen?
yeah, yeah, he was. And he owns the update on that is that he owns a farm that produces hops that they use in to make beer at that unmapped brewery in Glen Lake there.
Not surprising at all. He looked like a beer drinking leadoff hitter in a softball league and he was fun to watch. He was fun to watch. Great
He's the
electricity for the Twins.
Dan Mann from Gladden.
Nice. Good pull, Corn.
Have you ever surfed? Living in California, Copper, have you ever surfed?
I surfed for a little bit. Like I spent a year trying to get sort of good at it when I first moved to LA. Like for 6 months, I met a guy who was just Joe Surf. So he's like, we'd leave at 5 a.m, go get my ass kicked for 3 days. The bug never caught me, thank God, because I know so many people that have spent just so much time in the water and still do, that are my age. A buddy of mine still surfs, and it's like, you're still surfing? No. So never caught on. I played a lot of basketball, and I played fast pitch softball a lot in Southern California until I was like 26 or 27. It was super fun to play fast pitch softball.
Now I noted that in your email signature it says Coach T. Cobb. Have you been? Will you continue coaching?
I did a lot. It was really cool, and this is a favorite one for me because, as you guys are nice to point out, I was a big baseball fan, and my daughter was a baseball fan, but not with any encouragement from me. I even told Lady, I said, I'm not going to talk about base. If she likes baseball, she'll like it or not. So she took to the game. She really liked it. And a buddy of hers was trying out for Little League. And so she asked, think I could play Little League? I said, absolutely. And then she said, will you coach? So my heart broke, and it was great. And so she played Little League, and we had an amazing experience. Our first team, we didn't draft because they were so young. This is one of my all-time favorite stories, so please allow me to indulge. So we didn't draft. So the team was picked by the commissioner. And so we're standing at the field for the first practice, and I turn around, and this girl taps me, and I turn around, and I look down, and she's wearing a baseball cap. She's got long hair, blonde hair, and she goes, are you Coach Cobb? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, I'm Michi Sold. I'm on your baseball team. And she was a girl. And my daughter was coming into Little League. So all of a sudden she had a girl. So like right away, it was like the greatest start ever. Right. So the team starts coming together and everything. So I noticed that Michi's mom is standing over on the fence, kind of watching it all go down. And she's watching it all go down. Like, I'm putting this team together. I don't have an assistant coach or anything, and I'm doing the rah-rah from the top shelf the best I can to have it, really be something exciting. Of course, I'm trying to teach my daughter how to be a baseball player. And so I meet her at the end of the practice, and I said, hey, why is Michi playing baseball? And she goes, well, I played a little softball when I was growing up, and she didn't want to play softball because she heard I played baseball. And I went, oh. I said, but you switched to softball after Little League? Well, yeah, but I played baseball too. I'm like, okay, so the conversation keeps evolving. I go, so where did you play softball? She goes, well, I played at the University of Oregon. I'm like, excuse me? I go, excuse me? She goes, yeah. I go, when? She was like, I was there from 89 to 91. I go, I think Oregon played in the College World Series in 1990, didn't they? And I knew that because Cal State Northridge, where I went to school, was pretty badass, and they used to play Oregon. And I saw Oregon play in 1990. And I go, you played at Oregon? She goes, yeah. I go, okay. You got any interest in coaching Little League baseball? Like, I asked her just like right on the spot. Like, I go, girls softball, camaraderie, teamwork, everything. You want to get involved? And she's like, I kind of blew her away. She's like, I had no idea. So she went home, talked to her husband. She called me up. She's like, really? So she and I took a team for 4 years, and our daughters played together all the way through. And so I coached that, and then came to find out she also got offered a full ride to play basketball at the University of Washington and Washington State and every other college within 150 miles of her house. So I said, well, what do you know? I was going to coach a CYO team too. So we were able to get the collects from the parents. So both girls played basketball together for 4 or 5 years, and we got to coach. All of that has moved on now. So it appears that the coaching part is over, but man, in my second, that was super fun to be able to do that, especially with some of these kids. There's a few kids in this town that are it's just hilarious how disconnected they are from reality, them and their parents. And so it'd be the type of stuff that would really piss you off if you lived in the suburbs, like real, like, track housing, nothing wrong with that track housing stuff, but these people are so disconnected that it's almost comical sometimes. So other than that, dream situation. And first girl ever to legally play Little League baseball was in Mill Valley in the Little League in which I coached. Yeah.
Huh.
That's cool.
Jenny Foley, does that count as name dropping, Martin? First
No, I don't know
girl
Jenny
ever to
Foley.
legally play Little League baseball. My home.
That's so cool.
That's
Thank
pretty
you.
cool, actually.
Yeah. They flew her up. She lives down in LA. They flew her up because they had like 17 girls playing in the league amidst all the divisions. So they had a big celebration. There's now a Jenny Foley Rock. We were there to christen it, which is behind the score box and there's the concession shack or whatever. So yeah, it was really cool, man. Really cool.
Well, people might remember this, that you dated Patty Hagerty in high school, and to date someone like Patty Hagerty means not that you wouldn't have been anyway, but you were being a fan of women's sports sort of goes along with that relationship. And I know you are.
Yeah, she's a pretty good athlete, right?
A little bit.
Oh yeah.
Broke a few of those barriers in our area as well.
Yeah. No,
My favorite Patty story is that she took Russ Moser yard in the Glen Lake Optimist Little League. And poor Russ started crying on the mound as Patty's doing her home run trot around the base.
Oh no!
I'll tell you,
Jason, you may have been there, Jason. You played in that little league.
That was my league. I don't remember that moment. I do remember the story about it though, because
I love that.
It sucked because it was like, and what was cool, just to like, and I'm sure you get this, you got these kinds of things, coaching girls and boys on a Little League baseball team, Tony, but, Patty would play and she would pitch and people would be like, can't win. I get a hit off her. They're like, well, of course you got a hit off her. She's a girl. If she strikes you out, it's over. And our dads, my dad coached Little League baseball too. And he would say, they would just say, enough of that. We're not doing, she's a ball player out here, just like everybody else. We're not going to get into who's a boy and who's a girl out here. She's out here playing just like the rest of you. Tim Saprell's dad was the other coach, and they just didn't put up with any of that stuff. So.
Okay, I'm jumping in. That's so interesting, and that's advanced for your fathers. And I'm monitoring the peanut gallery. Mike Case is here, Tony.
Oh yeah.
And he says, I was the catcher for that, told her what that was coming.
Nice. Case called the pitch. Case called the pitch, heard round the world. Hey, Hegry went deep on Moser and everything changed in Glen Lake, just like that. Overnight, things changed. I'll tell you what, Patty Hegry as an athlete, I remember, I'm pretty sure I played golf with Patty the first time she ever played golf. Maybe not, but she and I like kind of played golf a little bit when we were, together and we enjoyed. And I remember like you're really not supposed to be able to hit it quite like that yet. That's a little, like, seriously, it's a little too crisp right away. So, and that was the norm. And Patty worked as hard as anyone I knew in high school at her craft. And she was a very talented hockey player. Her brothers, I don't know if anybody knows her brother, all of her brothers were, like, I'm pretty sure varsity, pretty much first or second string varsity for sure by the time they were juniors. And they were all physical and tough as hell. And Patty, I'm pretty sure Patty caught almost all the time in softball.
Yeah.
And was a great hockey player. Could have easily played basketball. So yeah, it's cool. It was cool. I got to catch up with Patty when I was there a couple of years ago. We had that big gathering. It was great to see her. And I'm not really a Facebook guy, but like, I don't like knock people off Facebook, or I don't do any of that. So it's funny. I have like 40 people on my Facebook, and I feel like I know Patty's family because Patty's on my Facebook. So I see, and she posts, the pictures of her kids and everything. So it was great to see her. And it's great to see that she's doing good. The time with Patty that I had in high school was instrumental still to the man I am today. Those were incredible memories. And for me to be lucky enough to meet someone as sweet and caring and as giving as she was at that time in our lives was amazing. Never forget it. So that's what I love about Hopkins 88. Again, best class ever. The type of people that are running around in this class. Am I right, Ramon? This isn't just, I mixed it in with the 82 class. No. I'm pretty sure Simon's still, correct me if I'm wrong, one of only 50 in the game, right? Right? I think you'd have to be an NFL play-by-play broadcaster to be the only one in a smaller field, but he just happens to work for the state, the federal government's representing the state of Minnesota for openers. So he's still the guy, right, Marnie? He's still in there?
Secretary of State, yep.
Yes, he is still Secretary of State and doing a kick-ass job to preserve our democracy.
Nice.
Only other quick Tony Cobb memory is, and this Marnie plays a key role in this. I want to say Marnie had an uncle who lived in a house over by Ridgedale, and you were maybe in charge of house sitting for him once, and held a party at his house, and got a little bit of beer in there, and Tony Cobb decides he's going to do shotgun.
No, at my uncle's house?
Don't you remember this?
I don't remember.
But it was like, we cannot make a mess. And even Tony's like, not getting, So I remember like a towel around the neck, like everything.
No.
Yeah. It was pretty good. It might have been
the
the
first.
first.
That was the only story you had left, Jace? That was the only one, huh?
That's just the one that I remember just now.
I'd have had one
Might
or
have
two
been the
parties
first
over there,
shotgun
right,
I
Mark?
ever witnessed, but anyway.
I remember house sitting, but I just remember we were pretty calm and measured in our adventures.
Way beyond our years. You can't be running around wild if you're going to be the best class ever. You got to be way beyond your years by the time you're a senior. I mean, seriously.
Okay.
Fucking around here.
This is so fun. So I'm just so happy Ramon is here. Ramon writes, yes, of all my classes, my favorite class of all times is the class of 88. They are making a huge mark in the world. Eric, we're so glad you're here. I'm going on mute because there's so much to say to Tony. We'll have to do the baseball show.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. No, we'll get the we're talking November, Cobber, so we need to there's a lot of people that play on that baseball team that haven't been on KHOP88, so that'll be good. We'll get
let's name them like it's the 1980 Phillies.
Yeah, can you do the lineup, Cobber? You batted leadoff, maybe.
You did. I can do positions. I can't do batting order. Right? Because Wandry caught. Matson played first. You were at second. Steiner played short. Jim Keane was at third. Jeff Cummings played left field. Solovius, I think, was in center, right? And Sauter played right. And, Al was the big horse on the mound until he hurt his arm. And, and Casola, I know, was a pretty good pitcher. I know Nelly did some relief pitching. I don't know if Cummings still pitched at that point.
Cummings was pitching a little bit.
And Babe Ruth, but that was.
What about utility?
Squad,
what about utility man Matt Hockett off the bench? What about that?
Corey Gutenfelder could go the other way on a fast, and you couldn't throw a fastball. You couldn't take the other way. Solovios was great. That's funny you mentioned that, Haugs, because I saw Solovios, believe it or not, the first year I was in LA. He had moved to LA.
Oh yeah. And
I remember he couldn't stand Dewey. Didn't get the playing time he wanted. And I remember we were up like 9-0 against somebody, and he was on a 3-0 count, and Dewey gives him the take sign on a 3-0 count. Slovius just turns on one. I swear he hit it 400 feet, and then did like the one wing down Jeff Leonard, like slow trot around. And Dewey had his hand, like his covered. He's so mad. He just wanted to scream at him. And I think Slovius might have even winked at him as he walked by him. It was great.
Love that.
That was a fun team.
That drives me crazy to this day. Like, if you're in the major leagues, yes, 3-0, take every time.
Yeah.
But if you're in baseball and your age anything below 18 and it's 3-0, you're about to see the fattest ball of the day. And why would you ever put the take sign on a kid like that? I just
don't throw Jim Keane a 3-0 fastball. Right. That's Southern California bred down there. You won't find that baseball. That was awesome when he showed up. I was like, I'm sorry, you went to Modern day.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. He's sick. I know he's sick.
And it's funny because Jason, when you had him and Brian on, remember he was talking about, yeah, I got to Hopkins and like they showed me the weight room, and I said, "This is it." Like it was like 1,100 square feet. Modern. I mean, I was playing with Todd Marinovich out there, and now I got Steve Drone singing "Joy to the World" on the bus home after we won a football game.
Wait, win a football game. What?
Well, no, I think Jim and Jim kind of talked around it, but I think the first year he was back in Hopkins, or first year he moved here, I think he was just like, "What the hell did I get myself into?" Man, what?
First, I remember first game he played on varsity. He rushed for 4 touchdowns in the first game he ever played for Hopkins, and I came to school the next day. I'm like, "This dude rushed for 4 touchdowns last night?" Yeah, 4. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get him for the baseball show.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm so glad we're gonna have a baseball game. Jason, are you gonna ask me the question? I'm ready.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Marnie, who's on the show next week?
Well, next week is a big mystery, but I'll move on. September 14th, Phil Bremer said a big yes. Thank you, Phil. I'm super psyched. Doug Robertson hooked me up with Kathy Russett, who will be
another fantastic athlete from the class.
I have a quick Kathleen story, by the way.
Yes,
for those of you who don't remember, Kathleen and I were friends in junior high school, like really good friends. And I played a lot of hoops on her driveway with her and her dad. And I nicknamed her Kathleen the Dream when she was in junior high school, when Akeem Olajuwon was around. That'd be great to see Kathleen. She was unreal.
Awesome. That's good to hear. October 5th, I booked John Dale with the help of Rich Lindstrom. That'll be awesome.
Get the motor running.
October 12th, we will have someone I never knew in high school. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Michael Ilhe?
Mike Eiley.
Mike Eiley is a big yes. And then I have an agreement with Wendy White.
Wow.
We're picking a date. Wendy White.
The Stones? Jesus. Wow.
And then December 7th, Dawn Witt is anchoring the band show.
That's going to be wild.
Wait,
we're going to keep going, guys. Tony,
What's the band show, Marnie?
That's all the members of the band.
Which band?
Marching band.
The marching band.
Oh, the marching band. I'd seen the Todd Ames bit, and then that one band that came out, how you'll remember, and then cut me off, guys. But it was Book, Green, and somebody else, but I'll never forget sitting in the theater. They came out and they played The Core by Eric Clapton, and Michelle Walker sang the female vocal lead. That was, I'm pretty sure, the first time in my life I had chills listening to live music. I don't know if anybody else remembers that. I'd love to hear if somebody else remembers that. It was unreal.
I appreciate you bringing it up. So a couple of things, since we're talking about booking, Tony and guys. So I have reached out to Michelle, and it's a Facebook thing. So I know she'll write me back. We really want Michelle on.
Yeah.
One of the big memories about the Todd Ames Blues Band is Sam Sigelman with his nipple tape.
Yeah, but see, now I'm remembering, well, the first time I saw Sam Sigelman in nipple tape was he was in a band with Jim Orndorff.
And Louis Dachis.
No.
And
that shit was crazy. It was punk. It was punk.
Yes, and it was on the stage of the little theater there, and people just started throwing stuff at him.
Yeah, it was nuts.
And I just remember the famous line from that Battle of the Bands was on the mic, "Stop throwing fucking pens." Like,
okay, that's helping me out. We have people who know Todd Ames, my former boyfriend and prom date. We're working on him. Okay, but we have a lot of great guests. Tony, you are episode 64, and I just want to say some thank yous. So Eric It is so cool to have you join us. You are awesome.
I concur.
Thank you.
Encyclopedic knowledge.
I'm just keeping the seat warm for Mr. Joyce once he comes back. Then I'll go back to research specialist.
Well, you are more than you're being modest. You are more than keeping the seat warm. We are so grateful to you. And hey, Jason, it's awesome to see your face and hear your voice.
Thanks. It's great to be back. I've missed it, and it's a lot of fun. I got a great card from Stacy Semler the other day, and she just mentioned that you know, how much everybody loves the show and stuff, and it's been such a great. It's just been so much fun to do, and I still tell, you know, I just bring it up with people. I had a meeting with a coworker this afternoon, and I'm like, yeah, I'm back on our class talk show tonight. Everybody's got questions about it. They all think it's the funnest, the coolest thing. So.
It's no joke, Jay. It's awesome. Marnie, it's awesome. House, it's great. Doug, if you're listening, or
yes,
he's on here. Yep,
it's great. It's great, you guys. It's so great. Because like I said at the beginning, I'll never forget, and nor do I take for granted that I was able to, how my mom was able to tuck us into a spot where we could get anchored and go to school with all of you guys and do everything that we did then, what we've done since, what we're doing now, what our kids will do. It's not to be honest. Somebody should say something, because it's really special what you guys have done. It's so heartfelt. It really is. So,
well, we're going to have you back on the baseball show. We're going back to email to pick a tentative date for all you dudes to organize yourselves for the.
Thanks again, everybody, and hey, we'll see you around. And I don't know how to send off. I mean, I don't. So.
Jason does it. Jason does. It's Jason's deal.
Yeah, we'll see everybody next Tuesday for Mystery Show.
Yeah.
Live on Facebook. Yeah.
Live on Facebook. Great to see you guys. Take care, everybody.
And as I said, for those of you who don't think this is the best class, as I said to these three earlier, you need to wake up and recognize, maybe even step out and tell some people you've never told before where you came from. Okay? Tell some people.
Exactly.
You know, see if they listen. I love you guys. Take care.
Love
Thanks,
you.
Cobb.